fundamentals. Now, two questions come to our mind. One question is, how do teachers develop competencies necessary for successful instruction? And how or what knowledge, skills, and attitude do the teachers need to develop in order to become successful teacher? I think you will agree with me that successful instruction is the result of competent planning and delivery for effective instruction. So teachers have to arrange instructional events for students in such a way that effective learning is facilitated. And competent planning and delivery of instruction allow for efficient organization and presentation of content matter, and therefore it is very important. So this session is about planning and delivering instruction effectively in the classroom as far as theory subjects are concerned. And in this session, we will focus on, first of all, the why planning is needed, what is the concept of planning, and what are the principles of instructional planning, and determining what to teach and planning how to teach. And then we will focus on how to deliver instruction effectively. And every instruction, or you can say classroom topic, must contain three stages. One is the introduction, second is the development, and third is the consolidation phase, where the content is summarized and students are given some assignments. The delivery part also contain the explanation, how to demonstrate, how to ask question, or how to respond to students' questions, assigning task, motivation and reinforcement, and assessing student performance and providing them feedback. Now, first of all, why instructional planning? You see, instructional planning is nothing but an organized statement of both general and specific goals together with specific means by which these goals are to be attained by the learner under the guidance of a teacher on a given day. So it means in the lesson plan, you will include the general objective, and I think you are already familiar with the writing of learning outcomes, that is general objective, using the verbs like know, understand, or appreciate, and writing the objectives at specific level using action verb, define, explain, describe, and so on. So your lesson plan must contain these two set of objectives, that is the general objective and the specific objective. Then the specific means means what instruction method you will employ, which media you will use, and how you will ask a question, how you will assess student performance, by which these goals are to be attained by the learner under the guidance of a teacher on a given day. It means it's a sort of daily lesson planning, which involves defining objectives, determining the content matter, or determining the methods and procedure. So we can say that lesson plan is nothing but an outline containing the amount of content matter to be covered, type of question to be asked, objectives to be achieved, reference to assignment, reference to some media. Okay, so lesson plan attempts to answer three questions. First question is, where am I going? Means, what are the objectives? That is, at the end of a lecture, what student will be able to do. So where am I going means, because every teacher enters the classroom with certain set of objectives, that after the topic is over, my student will be able to do this. For example, for today's lecture, the objectives were that after the topic is over, students will be able to define the lesson planning, they will be able to explain the significance of lesson planning, they will be able to describe the general principles of writing lesson plan, or they will be able to describe 3 stages in a lecture. So these are the objectives. Okay, so first question is, where am I going? That is, what are the objectives? Second is, how will I get there? How will I get there? means which method, which media, which evaluation tool I will be using. So you are making a lesson plan, because the lesson plan is very essential for a teacher, because he knows in advance what to do and what not to do in the classroom. So that provides him confidence. Okay, so it avoids the danger of covering more subject matter than the student can absorb, or it avoids the danger of running out of the material. Okay, so it keeps the teacher on the track, so it checks haphazard way of teaching. So that is why the second question is, how will I reach there? That is method, media. And the third question is, how will I know when I have arrived? It means you may ask one or two questions, and answer of the student to those questions will give you an idea to what extent your content has been understood by your student. So that at that moment you will provide them feedback. So lesson plan contains these three aspects. One is the objectives, second is the methodology, third is the providing feedback, that is asking question and giving some feedback. Now coming to why instructional planning, I must ask one question from you. How many of you have prepared lesson plan before going into the classroom? कितने लोग आप लोग बनाते हैं? Okay, so what do you include in the lesson plan?
The journey objective.
Yes.
Then how I'm going to start, etc. That's what I'm planning.
It means it does not contain the content. It contains the outline. That is the amount of content matter to be covered, objective to be achieved, or media to be taken, or reference to some assignment, some textbook, some website, क्योंकि आपने बच्चों को बतानी है कि ये आप end में you can access these websites. आप बनाते हैं, आपको इसका कोई advantage हुआ है? ट्रैक में रहते हो,
आपको पता है कि आपने घंटे में
खत्म करना है, बिल्कुल सही बात है. So it ensures presentation of content matter in a logical manner, in a systematic manner and effective way. Logical, that is you will move from simple to difficult. You will begin with concrete things first, and then you will move to the abstract knowledge. Okay, so you will move from known to unknown. So content is organized in a logical manner. Secondly, it enables the teacher to achieve economy of time, effort and money, because you have organized your lecture, you will teach in that way manner, and the student will be able to understand what you have covered. So the content is understood by the student in one go, so your time doesn't go waste and your effort doesn't go waste. And in regard to money, suppose you have brought some media on rental basis from outside agency, but you have not integrated in the classroom properly. You are merely showing it, you are not integrating. So there is a difference, showing only and integrate. Integrating means bringing that material only when it is needed, okay, and then removing that media when it is not needed, and you are relating with the content matter. Okay, another is because you know in advance what to do and what not to do. चाहे आपने एक लेक्चर 10 बार पढ़ाया हुआ है, even then you need to prepare for that lecture. You need to prepare your lesson plan. You will consider the nature of your students, you will consider the time available, you will also consider the type of media available, and you will need to bring some new examples. लेकिन कुछ बार ऐसा भी होता है कि जैसे आपने पिछले साल पढ़ाया and you face some difficulties in the classroom. अगर आपने वो नोट की हुई हैं, then you can incorporate certain changes on the basis of your previous lecture, so that you can modify your lecture. Okay, so it gives you confidence, security, because you have beforehand dealt with the problems and the ways to handle them. You see, there is another advantage. When you are making a plan, you are also anticipating the likely questions that the student may ask from you. कि यहाँ पर कोई बच्चा ये सवाल पूछ सकता है, तो मुझे इसको ऐसे हैंडल करना है। ओके, अगर प्लान नहीं बनाया तो यू आर नॉट एंटिसिपेटिंग, राइट? उसी समय आप एंटिसिपेट करेंगे, सो वो आपको कॉन्फिडेंस देगा। इवन कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि आपने लेसन प्लान भी बनाया, आपने यू हैव आल्सो थॉट ऑफ सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस, even then some question was posed by is posed by the students for which you have no ready made answer, then how you will tackle this situation? कैसे करेंगे टैकल, बताइए। एक क्वेश्चन आया जिसका आपके पास आंसर नहीं है, नाउ हाउ यू विल हैंडल दिस सिचुएशन? So one is one answer is that you will first appreciate the question. It's a wonderful question. So I will study at home. You also study at home. So tomorrow we will take up this question. ठीक है? दूसरा टेक्निक क्या हो सकती है? You will redirect this question to the students. Can any one of you answer this question? एक तो कुछ सेकंड का आपको पास पॉज मिल गया. You will think about the answer. Okay? और दूसरा कुछ स्टूडेंट ने इससे कोई हिंट दे दिया, यू विल बी एबल टू रिकलेक्ट. ओके, सो एक ये टेक्निक है. तो दूसरी आपने बताई कि भी आप बोलेंगे ये कल हम लेंगे, बट दिस शुड नॉट हैपन एवरी डे कि आज फिर क्वेश्चन आया, आज फिर हम बोलेंगे कि भाई ये क्वेश्चन कल लेंगे. सो अगर रोज ऐसा बोलेंगे देन वी विल लूज द कॉन्फिडेंस एंड इंटरेस्ट ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स. सो वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर आवर लेक्चर वेल, बिकॉज आजकल स्टूडेंट बहुत प्रिपेयर होके आते हैं. Another advantage is that it ensures suitable use of instructional media. देखिए अभी मैं आपको पीपीटी दिखा रहा हूँ, आई एम नॉट शोइंग ऑल द पॉइंट्स इन वन गो, राइट? अगर मैं पूरी पीपीटी एक बार में दिखाता तो स्टूडेंट्स का टेंडेंसी है उसको लिखना. ओके, सो आई एम showing one by one. Likewise, you have brought some chart, but you are not using right now. आपने उसको यहाँ टांग दिया. People will be looking at it. So उसको cover करके रखिए, and you uncover that portion only when it is needed. Okay? आप demonstration दे रहे हैं, you bring that demonstration equipment in the classroom. लेकिन अगर टेबल के ऊपर रखा हुआ है, student will be looking upon that equipment कि भाई ये कब यूज करेगा, उसको नीचे रख दीजिए, and then you show when it is needed. So it ensures proper use, क्योंकि आपको पता है लेसन प्लान में बनाया कि यहाँ पर इस मौके पे I will show this media. It ensures linkages of past knowledge of the learner with the new knowledge by employing the principles of correlation and integration. You see, there are two types of learning. One is meaningful learning and another is rote memorization. You see, as far as meaningful learning is concerned, when a teacher is telling something, the students' minds are not stationary. Their minds are trying to link what the teacher is telling with their background experiences. It means if the teacher has given some example from daily life or from word of work, that will promote meaningfulness. Otherwise, it will lead to rote memorization. ठीक है ना? तो हमने एग्जाम्पल्स के साथ, मीडिया के साथ इस कंटेंट को मीनिंगफुल बनाना है. ओके, इट इंश्योर्स द टीचर टू evaluate his work as the lesson proceeds and reveals his personality. You see, when I am teaching, I can read the faces of my students. Okay, कि किसको समझ आ रहा है, किसको नहीं समझ आ रहा, या मेरी टीचिंग में कोई फ्लॉ तो नहीं है, राइट? स्टूडेंट्स के जो फेसेस हैं, they are blank, so I need to make some changes in my lecture. Now, what are the components of instructional planning? First is your lecture plan will begin with instructional objective or learning outcome. Dr. Tulsi had discussed Tuesday about the concept of learning outcome. Learning outcome or instructional objective is a statement. It's not a question, which describes what the student will be able to do at the end of a unit of instruction. Okay, so you will specify. It means you will write two types of objective. One is general objective which gives the students about the general intent of the topic. The topic is Ohm's law. Then the teacher will say, after the topic is over, my students will be able to understand Ohm's law. Now, coming to this topic, instructional planning, I'll say, after the topic is over, student will be able to appreciate the importance of instructional planning. Broad. अब इसके अंदर specify करेंगे small objective, like they will be able to explain the concept of lesson planning. They will be able to describe the importance of lesson planning. They will be able to describe the components of lesson plan, or they will be able to prepare the draft of a lesson plan, and so on. Okay? So one is the instruction objective, and then you will select the content matter. So it means you will begin with objective, and from the objective you will come to know how much content you require to achieve those objectives, and then you are required to carry out the task analysis. I have already taken this concept on very first day. So task analysis is a process of I would say breaking down the complexity of an activity into easier steps, and these steps are then presented to student one by one. Okay, so that is task analysis until it becomes self-explanatory. So carry out task analysis. Then another decision the teacher has to make about the selection of appropriate instructional method. Now, what is instruction method? Instruction method is a link between teaching input and learning outcomes, mainly in terms of realizing learning outcomes. And a number of methods have been devised from time to time to make teaching learning very effective. Some methods are useful only in large group. Some methods are useful only in small group. Some methods provide individualized instruction. For example, lecture is a method which can be employed in a large group. It can be given to a small group. It can be given to one student also. Demonstration is also given to large group, small group, and individual. But there are some methods like seminar method, group discussion. These cannot be used in a large group. These you will use only in small group containing say 10 to 15 students. Brainstorming, tutorials, etc. Then there are some methods which provide individualized instruction, say self-learning module. Okay, computer assisted instruction package, it is one-to-one. और MOOC का नाम आपने सुना है, मैसिव ओपन ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज. सो उसमें फ्रीडम है, फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी है, एनी टाइम, एनी ड्यूरेशन. से अभी क्लासरूम में मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ, सम स्टूडेंट्स आर फास्ट लर्नर्स, सम स्टूडेंट्स आर एवरेज, सम आर स्लो लर्नर्स. मेरी एक ही रेट ऑफ डिलीवरी है. जो स्लो लर्नर है ही विल नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द कंसेप्ट. लेकिन ये जो इंडिविजुअलाइज इंस्ट्रक्शन है, ये अकॉर्डिंग टू द पेस ऑफ द लर्नर ही विल प्रोसीड. अगर वो फास्टली मूव करता है, फास्टली कर ले, राइट? So that depends upon him. So individualized instruction is a method of delivering instruction where every learner proceeds at his or her own pace and is provided with immediate knowledge of result. मतलब ये self sufficient है. जैसे क्लासरूम में मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछे, आपने आंसर दिए, I'll say wonderful. Okay, इसमें भी इंडिविजुअलाइज इंस्ट्रक्शन में भी इनबिल्ट क्वेश्चंस होंगे और उनका फीडबैक होगा. Then another decision the teacher has to take about is the selection or the development of instructional media for conveying the content. Instruction media could be print, it could be non-print, right? So you know the classification. Print media may contain the नोट्स हो सकते हैं, चार्ट्स हो गया, पिक्चर्स हो गए, डायग्राम्स हो गया, एंड नॉन प्रिंट में ये आपका पीपीटी आ गया, ओके, वीडियो प्रोग्राम आ गया, एंड सो ऑन. एंड डेवलपमेंट एंड सिलेक्शन ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन मीडिया, while developing or selecting, you need to consider certain factors like the nature of students, size of the class. Chart है आप लेके आए and the class size is say 100. The student sitting at the back bench will not be able to see it. So size of the class, even nature of objectives. Say you want to develop certain attitudes among students, then you need to show video program, because video program will give them the give them the view of that particular situation. Okay, so nature of subject, nature of students, characteristics of students, size of the class, and teacher's own comfortability, whether he is comfortable with PPT or not. Okay, and some practical constraint like the availability of say LCD projector, or availability of the say that this PC in the classroom, whether, or some say electrical points are available or not, or say mic or say speakers are available or not, like that. These are the practical constraints. And then deciding about evaluation procedure. By evaluation, we mean those activities which are designed to measure student achievement brought about as a result of some instructional sort. Okay, and for preparing questions or preparing assignment depends upon the statement of your objectives. So it means there must be one-to-one correspondence between the statement of the objective and the type of the question. For example, your objective is that he will be able to define current. Then your question should be define current and not what is current, because what is current is measuring something different, whereas the objective was define current. Okay, so it means while considering evaluation, you need to think about the validity and reliability of the items. Validity का मतलब क्या होता है? We say a question is valid if it measures what it is supposed to measure. I mean, supposed to means that he will be able to define objective or define force, say. Then the question should be define force. क्योंकि अगर आप क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे what do you know about force या what is force, स्टूडेंट कुछ और लिखेंगे, राइट? मेरा क्वेश्चन है that he should be able to describe each of 3 Newton's laws of motion with one example. तो मैं क्वेश्चन बनाया what are Newton's laws of motion. इसमें अथाह सागर है, कुछ भी बच्चा लिखेगा, because direction is not given. So validity means that the content and the question asked should be one-to-one. Okay, and the reliability. Reliability means consistency of results from one measurement to another measurement. Say one question is answered by a student, and if his answer sheet is marked by 2 or 3 teachers, if the answer sheet carries same marks, then we can say that it is providing a reliable result. But if there is a variation, then it is because of lack of reliability. Either the question is not properly stated, or the scope of the content is not clearly indicated. That is the reason. जैसे मैंने बोला what are Newton's laws of motion, एक बच्चे ने तीनों लॉज की स्टेटमेंट दे दी, दूसरे बच्चे ने हर एक लॉ को एक एग्जाम्पल के साथ एक्सप्लेन किया, तीसरे बच्चे ने दो एग्जाम्पल के साथ एक्सप्लेन किया. तो नेचुरली एक टीचर जिसने वो उस बच्चे को फुल मार्क्स देगा जिसने दो एग्जाम्पल दिए हैं, राइट? लेकिन क्वेश्चन की स्टेटमेंट में एम्बिग्युइटी थी, व्हाट आर न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ मोशन. सो हमें एवेल्युएशन में ये दो चीजें ध्यान में रखनी है, दैट इज द वैलिडिटी एंड रिलायबिलिटी ऑफ द रिजल्ट्स. एंड फाइनली आई विल गिव यू द format of a lesson plan. So there are large number of formats available on the website, different website, but depending upon the content taught in Indian technical institutions, so we have designed a format which will suit to the teachers of engineering colleges and polytechnics. So instruction objective, I'm not going to cover this because this part has already been discussed by Dr. P.K. Tulsi. So there are three domains of learning. One is the cognitive, which refers to intellectual outcomes, and here we include knowledge, understanding, and problem solving. And there are 6 levels. This you have already covered, that is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Then the affective domain is concerned with attitude, with values, with interest, that is receiving, responding, valuing, organization, characterization. And psychomotor domain is concerned with hand and head coordination. Okay, so all the three, knowledge, skills, and attitude, are essential for the overall development of personality. Knowledge alone is not sufficient. Skill alone is not sufficient unless the student does not have the proper attitude or approach. So both, all the three, knowledge, skills, and attitude, are essential for the overall development of the personality. तो ये मैं इसको skip करूंगा. This task analysis we have already covered. I'm not taking up. Yes. Now let us have a look at the general principles of instructional planning. That is, before we start preparing a lesson plan, as a teacher, we must know what are the principles. First is acquire a sound knowledge of curriculum requirements and content. You see, students learn most from those teachers who have a thorough understanding of the content or the curriculum requirement. So as a teacher, we must focus on the content. We can discuss among our colleagues कि इस content को किस extent तक लेके जाना है. Okay, so you must have the thorough knowledge about the subject matter. Second one is that plan instruction on the basis of what your students actually know and understand, and not on an assumption of what they should have learned in the previous lecture. You see, students are disadvantaged by those teachers who presume that they have complete understanding of the content of the previous lecture. बहुत बार हम टॉपिक को जो है पढ़ाने से पहले अज्यूम करते हैं कि बच्चे को ये आता होना चाहिए, अज्यूम कर दिया घर बैठ के, बट दैट वी शुड test before coming to the topic. Okay, let me take one example. Yes, what are the constituents of air? Yes, can you tell me what are the constituents of air? Good. Carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen. Correct. Which gas do we inhale? Wonderful. And which gas do we exhale? Correct. And which gas is available in soda water bottle? CO2. And which gas is used to extinguish fire? CO2. CO2. So friends, CO2 has got number of applications. How this gas can be prepared? Now this is a topic for them to learn. Then you will say that CO2 can be prepared by treating calcium carbonate with hydrochloric acid. So today in this session we will learn preparation of carbon dioxide gas. तो मैंने assume किया था कि मेरे students को general awareness है about the constituents of air and the applications of some of the air gases. Okay, वहां से मैं topic को, यानी I have started the topic with what they already know and slowly move to what they do not know. मैंने आपको principle बताया था ना, that you need to proceed from known to unknown, because known things are easily acceptable by the students as compared to unknown things which are not known to them. So plan instruction on the basis of what your students actually know and understand. You will begin with what they already know. Very important, and you know the significance of writing learning outcome. So always prepare specific objectives for each lesson, for each topic. There will be one broad objective, that is general objective, and there are short-term objective, that is a specific objective. Then Select instructional strategies that are appropriate for the topic to be taught and aptitude for the learners. So a proper match between the objective, the strategy, and the characteristics of learners will facilitate optimal learning. And you need to plan for alternatives also. आप बताएंगे alternatives क्या होते हैं? Why alternatives are needed? Yes?
अगर एक नहीं चला सकते दूसरा
शाबाश.
जैसे कि PPT नहीं चलेगी तो आप क्या करो?
Wonderful. Monica ji has said very rightly कि you have brought one PPT in a pen drive. आप उसको open किया तो सारी shortcut बन गए. Open up नहीं हो रही. Then you need to have this type of printout with you. या आपके पास ये CD होना चाहिए. So you must have some alternatives with you. एकदम बिजली चली गई. Chalkboard is always available in the classroom. Then you can say, okay, no problem. I can develop my lecture on the chalkboard. Let us learn. Because chalkboard is every time easily available in every classroom. So, because if you have not thought about the alternative, then your confidence level will go down. Then another is plan a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion for all lessons. Beginning means review of prerequisites and overview of your lecture. दोनों चीजें देनी है. Beginning is very important. It is just like warm-up phase of your lecture. The purpose is to introduce your students about the objectives. The idea is to create their interest. The idea is to arouse their curiosity. The idea is to explain them the rationale of learning something. Because when a teacher enters the classroom, students want to know why they are sitting in the classroom. So the why part must be communicated in the beginning. That is, you will not begin with this kind of sentence. Okay, today my topic is this. Today I am going to talk to you about this thing. And today I will discuss. मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मोनिका जी, क्या कोई टीचर किसी को टीच कर सकता है? नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि सबके पास स्मार्टफोन है. मैंने कुछ बोला नहीं है. You will say, सर इसमें ये चीज है. It means I am also learning. Okay? मैंने अभी पीछे एक एग्जांपल लिया था CO2 का. तो मैंने क्या कहा था? That today in this session we will learn preparation of carbon dioxide gas. Never say I will teach. पहली तो बात ये है. Because I am also learning. Because you are also adding. You are contributing. Okay? I am learning. Then you go to board and write on the middle of the chalkboard preparation of carbon dioxide gas. And on the left hand side, extreme left hand side, you write the objectives in the form of small bullets, like say the ingredients required, in equipment needed, okay, precautions to be observed, procedure for preparation, physical property, chemical properties. So beginning जो है, it must contains two things. One is review of prerequisites and overview of your lecture. देखो बहुत कम टीचर हैं जो टॉपिक बोर्ड पे लिखते हैं. हार्डली कोई एक आधा टीचर होगा जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में कंटेंट भी लिखता होगा कि ये कवर करेंगे. बिकॉज दैट चेक्स हैफाजत वे ऑफ टीचिंग. अगर आपने बुलेट्स फॉर्म में लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में लिखे हैं एंड थ्रू आउट लेक्चर उनको लिखा रहने दीजिए, एंड फ्रॉम देयर इटसेल्फ यू कैन summarize your lecture at the end. Okay, so plan a beginning, a middle. Middle will contain giving presentation, showing PPT, asking question, answering students questions, and so on, writing on the chalkboard. Then a conclusion. Conclusion is also necessary. At this moment you will summarize whatever you have covered in say 5 to 7 minutes, and it is followed by asking few questions about the entire chapter, and finally you will give them a list of assignments. Okay, so you can divide or distribute, I would say, the 40 minutes or 50 minutes time of lecture into 3 components. First, 4 to 6 minutes are for introduction, last 4 to 6 minutes are for the some conclusion, and the middle, that is a development of the lecture, you can have 30 to 40 minutes. Then plan interesting and challenging learning experiences. हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी, please ask question if you have any query.
हेलो सर।
हेलो सर।
हाँ जी
सर एक सिली क्वेश्चन। सर मैंने क्या देखा है, 11th 12th इंजीनियरिंग, एमटेक, आईआईटीएंस, एनआईटीएंस, जितनी फैकल्टी है मोस्टली फैकल्टी विदाउट बुक या सिंपल ऐसे डायरेक्ट पढ़ाने आते हैं। तो वो क्या ये ट्रेड है या फिर वो अपने आप को शो ऑफ करते हैं कि ऑल नॉलेज आर मेमोराइज इन माइंड, या फिर ऑल कंटेंट्स आर कवर इन माइंड? तो ये एक फ्लो, एक फोबिया है या फिर इससे जस्ट दिखावा, या फिर नहीं कि हम बुक लेके भी आ सकते हैं क्लास
देखिए,
के?
ऐसा है, बुक के बिना आप आ सकते, बुक को क्यों लेके आओगे आप? एक लेक्चर प्लान लेके आइए ना क्लासरूम में।
सर आपको पता है कि अगर जो फैकल्टी 5 साल से या 10 साल से अगर एक सब्जेक्ट को अगर वो कवर कर रही है तो ऑल कंटेंट आर फ्लो इन माइंड।
देखिए, आप चाहे, मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बोला था, अगर आपने चाहे 10 बार पढ़ाया उस टॉपिक को, आप कॉन्फिडेंटली नहीं कह सकते कि आप अगली बार भी डिलीवर एफिशिएंटली करेंगे। यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर फॉर दिस।
सर आप ये भी तो मानते हो कुछ सब्जेक्ट ऐसे होते हैं जिनका माइंड में हमेशा फ्लो रहता है?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, ऐसा मैं नहीं मानता। मैं ये कहता हूँ,
दूसरा अभी आपने क्वेश्चन क्रिएट किया था कि अल्टरनेटिव के बारे में बोला था कि अल्टरनेट होना चाहिए। तो मेरा ये जैसे दूसरा इसी पे मेरा ये मानना है कि फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे मैं लेक्चर में जाता हूँ, तो मैं लेक्चर में जाने से पहले प्रीवियस लेक्चर है उसको विद इन 2 मिनट्स के अंदर रिवाइज करा देता हूँ, जो कंटेंट मैंने कवर कराया, फिर मैं स्टार्ट करता हूँ नेक्स्ट।
दिस इज रिक्वायर्ड, ये चाहिए।
मोस्टली जनरली फैकल्टी क्या करती है, वो जाती है कंटेंट लिखती है अपना स्टार्ट और अटेंडेंस, तो 10 मिनट अटेंडेंस में बाकी 10 लास्ट 5 मिनट डिस्कशन और 20 मिनट्स का लेक्चर होता है मोस्टली, बजाय उसके कि वो अटेंडेंस वो लास्ट में लें और स्टार्टिंग करें अपने उस जो लास्ट लेक्चर्स को रिवाइज करके।
May I know your good name please?
रामनारायण मीना सर।
हाँ?
रामनारायण मीना फ्रॉम यूपीसी।
राम नारायण जी, आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला है कि you have to begin with what the student has learned in the previous lecture. You will start your lecture with what you have covered yesterday. You will come to today's topic, and before leaving today, you will announce next day's topic also, so that you can maintain a continuity in your teaching. कल हमने ये किया था, आज हम यहाँ आ गए, और अब before leaving कि भी आज हमने ये किया, then we will take up this thing tomorrow. So that
एक तो है कि अगर कोई स्टूडेंट नहीं है, एब्सेंट है, तो उसको भी पता चलेगा कि हम ये सर कहाँ चल रहे हैं, किस कंटेंट पे कवर करने वाले हैं। अब दूसरा ये कि मोस्टली आजकल जो स्टूडेंट है नए जनरेशन के, वो व्हाट्सएप या बिजी शेड्यूल में रहते हैं, जो शाम को प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं होते, तो फिर उनको भी लगता है कि हाँ फ्लो कनेक्टिविटी हो जाती है उनके साथ।
बिल्कुल सही कहा रामनारायण जी, मैं आपके साथ 100% जो सहमत हूँ। आप एक और भी काम कर सकते हो, जैसे आज लेक्चर आपने खत्म किया, ठीक है, कल सुबह यानी आज से आपकी क्लास में 50 बच्चे हैं, आज एक बच्चे की ड्यूटी लगा दो कि आज जो मैंने लेक्चर कवर किया है, कल सुबह तूने 5 मिनट में समराइज करना है।
जी यस सर।
ठीक है, तो उसकी इन्वॉल्वमेंट भी हो गई, और अगले दिन दूसरे बच्चे की, उससे अगले दिन तीसरे बच्चे की। तो बहुत सारे टीचर ऐसा भी करते हैं, यानी वो स्टूडेंट से समराइजेशन जो है वो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, या उसी समय लेक्चर खत्म होने के बाद ही वो समराइजेशन बच्चों से करवाते हैं।
सर एक और लाइन बोलना चाहूंगा सर। दूसरा क्या है कि सर मैं 4 साल से टीचिंग कर रहा हूँ, 4 साल में मैंने ये 4 साल पहले जब मैं आया था तब भी मैं उसी लेवल से पढ़ाता था जो सब्जेक्ट है, लेकिन इन 4 साल बाद जब मेरे एचओडी सर ने पूछा कि तुम्हें क्या इंप्रूवमेंट देखा अपने अंदर, तो मैंने सिर्फ यही देखा कि मैं हर 1 घंटे में 80 लड़कों को रीड करता हूँ, उनका फेस रीड करता हूँ, तो अगले 1 घंटे में फिर 80 लड़कों से मिलता हूँ, तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे मैं फेस रीडर, किसी चेहरे को फेस रीड करना सीख गया हूँ कि देखा उसको, मिला 5 मिनट, उसका फेस रीड कर लेता हूँ। तो ये सीखा इन 4 साल में, बजाय इसके कि नहीं सब्जेक्ट में कोई इंप्रूवमेंट आया, नहीं, कि मैं उसी रिदम से आज भी उसी रिदम से पढ़ाता हूँ जो 4 साल पहले जब फ्रेशर्स आया था तब भी मैं उसी अपनी नॉलेज थी उसके अकॉर्डिंग ही पढ़ाता था।
तो फेस रीडिंग का मुझे समझ नहीं आया, फेस रीडिंग आप क्या करते हो?
बॉडी लैंग्वेज को रीड कर लेता हूँ, ये इंटेलिजेंट
हाँ
है या
हाँ, ये अच्छी बात है कि आप बॉडी लैंग्वेज को देख के कि भी वो समझ उसको नहीं आ रहा तो आप अपनी स्ट्रेटेजी में चेंज लाते हो,
तुरंत
आप
मतलब
एग्जाम्पल देते हो। से मान लो कोई बच्चा है, वो उसका फेस जो है ब्लैंक दिख रहा है, इसका मतलब आपका कंटेंट जो था वो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट था, वो समझ नहीं पाया। नाउ यू नीड टू सम एग्जांपल।
ऐसे मैं सिंपल यूनिट जो माइनर यूनिट जो बिल्कुल लो लेवल 10th स्टैंडर्ड की यूनिट पूछता हूँ, सपोज दैट न्यूटन मीटर या फिर सेंटीमीटर या सडनली, तो उससे पता चल जाता है उसका लेवल कहाँ है। तो उसी लेवल के अकॉर्डिंग मैं अपना लेक्चर को मॉडिफाई कर देता हूँ कि अगर मुझे 0 लेवल में जाना है तो वहां से स्टार्ट करता हूँ फिर उसे।
चलो अभी डिस्कशन को यहीं छोड़े, क्योंकि मैं और दूंगा उसके बाद रिएक्ट। ओके, तो प्लान इंटरेस्टिंग एंड चैलेंजिंग। Or can we take all the questions at the end? So let me finish first. So now the next principle is plan for interesting and challenging learning experiences. Students, they will attend to teacher only when they find classroom lecture very much interesting. And some examples from word of work or daily life daily life areas are taken into consideration. Plan for meaningful learning. I have already explained the concept, that is relating with the meaningfulness. Another principle is plan assignments that contain both easy and difficult material, because in the classroom there are below average students, there are average students, there are gifted students. So you can always ask a small or simpler question to a below average student. The idea is to first boost his morale. Okay, once he is able to answer a simple question, next time he will be able to answer the difficult question to some extent. Okay, then organize a regular assessment schedule. That is before the start of the topic, you will test for the prerequisites. Then you cover one aspect of the topic, ask one or two questions. Then go to the second component of your lecture, ask one or two questions. And before leaving the classroom, you ask question pertaining to the entire chapter. So organize a regular assessment schedule. And another is that be prepared to adapt plans that do not achieve stated objectives. For example, there is some question for which you have no answer, or PPT has not opened up, or say there is no electricity, or say आपने demonstration का equipment लेके आए हैं, say you are preparing carbon dioxide gas but the gas is not coming out. Okay, you can pose problem before the student why we are not getting the particular thing. Okay, now we'll move to events of instruction. Very important. Events of instructions are designed to make the student proceed from what he already knows to what he doesn't know. So number of events have been designed to make teaching learning very effective. So now let us see, there are 9 events of instruction, and we will see which event can come at which time. Okay, now the first is gaining attention. Very important. I think you will agree with me that it should be throughout the lecture. Gaining attention. The purpose is to alert the student to the reception of the stimulus. And attention in general can be gained by rapid introduction of stimulus change. So let me give you few tips. Okay, few tips to gaining attention. First is that generally teachers stand stationary at the lecture stand. Okay, there is no movement. You are looking at me at some angle, you are looking at me at some angle. Since there is no change in my posture, naturally there will be no change in your posture. You will tolerate me for some time, after that you will experience fatigue. So instead of standing stationary, bring purposeful movement. Say you are teaching and now you are coming to this section of the class. Slowly you can by speaking you can go to this section of the class. Okay, now when I come closer to you, you become alert. हाँ? मैं आंख चुरा के आपकी कॉपी देख सकता हूँ कि कहीं फूल पत्ते या मेरी फोटो तो नहीं बन रही। जनरली स्टूडेंट ऐसे ही करते हैं। तो ब्रिंग पर्पसफुल, मैंने बोला पर्पसफुल, नॉट लाइक दिस कि आप लगातार बोल रहे हैं और ऐसे ऐसे चल रहे हैं। दिस इज नॉट। So one is purposeful movements. So don't stand stationary at the lecture stand. Now majority of teachers they stand like this, दोनों हाथ पॉकेट्स में, like this, या ऐसे खड़े हैं, right, लेक्चर स्टैंड के ऊपर. मैं ऐसे खड़ा हूं, I say in front of my house there is a big house. अब इसी सेंटेंस को मैं दोबारा बोलता हूँ, I say in front of my house there is a big house. अब ये क्या हुआ? Gestures, meaningful gestures. So second is meaning, you supplement with your gestures. Rainbow is like this, okay? तो आपके हाथ खुले होने चाहिए, पॉकेट में नहीं होने चाहिए. कुछ टीचर मैंने ऐसे भी देखे हैं, they will pick up a piece of chalk and break it into 2-3 pieces. They start like this. ना साथ में बोल रहे हैं, they are now playing with the chalk. So second is meaningful gesture. Third one is change in voice. Change the tone and pitch of your voice. There should be variation. You say these are due to laws of inertia. जहां पर आपने एम्फेसिस देना है उस वर्ड को लाउडली बोलेंगे, तो उससे क्या होगा, जो भी सो रहा है एकदम से जागेगा. Isn't it? So मैंने बोला these are due to laws of inertia. तो मैंने due to और laws of inertia में pause भी दिया. Right? This is another tip for gaining attention. Another is that change in interactional pattern. Interaction क्या होता है? What is interaction? Two way. It is two way. तो अगर लगातार मैं ही बोलता चला जाऊं and I don't involve you, you will indulge yourself in daydreaming. ठीक है? Now what should I do? I need to insert 1 or 2 questions, or I can invite 1 or 2 questions. Now they will participate. Okay? So change in interactional pattern. Another is oral visual switching. Oral visual switching. What is oral? A-U-R-A-R. Oral means something which involves sense of hearing, and visual is something which involves sense of sight. तो मैंने बोला oral visual switching. आप लगातार बोल रहे हैं, students sense of hearing is involved. When you go to board and write something, now they are looking, seeing to it. आपने PPT दिखाया, आपने कोई वीडियो दिखाया, so make use of different sense organs of the students. तो जितने sense organs involved होंगे, 5 sense organs हैं, उतनी learning better होगी. Okay. Another is that maintaining an eye contact with each and every student sitting in the class. अगर मैं पढ़ाते पढ़ाते अपने फेवरेट स्टूडेंट जो फर्स्ट रो में बैठे हुए उन्हीं को अपना आई कनेक्ट देता हूँ, कॉर्नर वाले स्टूडेंट को मैं इग्नोर करता हूँ, थोड़ी देर तक मुझे टॉलरेट करेंगे, उसके बाद वो मैसेज पास ऑन वगैरह वगैरह जो भी है. तो ऑलवेज मेंटेन एन आई कॉन्टेक्ट विद ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट सिटिंग इन द क्लासरूम, बट ओनली फॉर ए शॉर्टर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. गड़बड़ मत कर देना, क्योंकि आप को एजुकेशन सिस्टम में पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो इससे गड़बड़ हो सकती है, क्योंकि एक ही कुछ सेकंड से ज्यादा अगर किसी को देखोगे दैट विल बी एम्बैरेसिंग फॉर बोथ द पार्टी. सो this one is gaining attention. I think it should be throughout the lecture, right? This is the event of instruction. इससे student classroom में active रहेंगे. Second one is informing students about objectives of instruction. ये कब होगा? At the beginning, that is after introducing topic, you will inform the students about what they will be able to do. And secondly, before leaving the classroom, you will inform them about the objectives for tomorrow's lecture. या कुछ बच्चे जो है घर से पढ़ के भी आ सकते हैं कि कल टीचर ने ये करवाना है, तो this should be 2 times. Another is ensuring prerequisites of learners. ये कब होगा? At the beginning of the lecture and during the lecture also. Say you are making some derivation and there you want the value of f, which is ma. एक तो तरीका है, आप बोलेंगे here you can put the value of f as a ma. Another technique is, yes, can any one of you tell the relationship between force and acceleration? We have studied last semester, so we are helping them to recall. Okay, so ये उस समय भी हो सकती है. Another is presenting the stimulus material. So there should be variation. variety of learning experiences. You can bring different media in the classroom, okay? Or and another is that you can give many examples from daily life, from word of work, etc. Another is providing learning guidance. It is needed when you are giving students some new assignment and you are giving them some clue. Okay? Say you have asked one question and the student has not answered the question. मेरा idea है उसको snub करना नहीं, मेरा idea है उससे answer लेना. So what I will do, I will break down that question into 2-3 small questions. The idea is to give him some kind of hint, and through hint I can take him to the right answer. Okay. So, providing learning guidance. Another is asking him to show. आपने assignment दिया, please show, or you can come to the board and draw the circuit diagram. So asking him to show, and then giving him informative feedback. यहाँ पर लाइन थोड़ी सी टेढ़ी रह गई है, हाँ? ऐसे नहीं बढ़िया बनाया, यहाँ it needs some improvement. वो need some improvement में बताओ तो सही कहाँ गैप है. वो आपने informative मैंने बोला, provide informative feedback, and then assessing student performance. That is at the end, and enhancing retention and transfer. ये कैसे होगा? That is, आपने स्कूलों का concept देखा हुआ है, that in school every teacher gives homework or assignment. The purpose of giving assignment is to enable the student transfer whatever he has learned in the classroom in another situation. If he is able to transfer what he has learned in the classroom in a new situation, that will help him retain the knowledge for a longer period of time. So that is why it is enhancing retention and transfer. Now we'll move to the format of a lesson plan. So the plan, at the top, you will write the topic, name of the teacher, the subject, the class, the place, and the date. Okay. So this is the preliminary information which is written on the top of the lecture plan. Then comes the instruction objectives. One is the general objective. Write the general objective of the lesson, which may be one or more, with verb understand, know, appreciate, and so on. And second one is the specific objective. For each general objective, you can have 3, 4 or more specific objectives, beginning with action verbs. And there is another set of objective, that is readiness objective. We want to know ready. We want to know whether the student is ready to receive new instruction. Here, whatever you have assumed that students might be familiar with this, you will write in the form of readiness objective. For example, topic hai inertia, and we have assumed that they are already familiar with the concept of rest, concept of motion, and concept of force. So you can write these assumptions in the form of readiness objectives. You will say the student can define rest, he can give examples of bodies in motion, he can define, he can. जो ऑब्जेक्टिव थे हमने लिखे थे, आफ्टर द टॉपिक इज ओवर स्टूडेंट विल बी एबल टू डू, वो एट द एंड है. रेडीनेस का मतलब क्या है? वेदर द स्टूडेंट इज रेडी टू रिसीव न्यू इंस्ट्रक्शन, उसके लिए हमने टेस्टिंग करनी है. दैट थिंग यू विल राइट इन द ऑब्जेक्टिव फॉर्म. एंड ये 5 कॉलम का फॉर्मेट है. सो फेज इंट्रोडक्शन, देन द ऑब्जेक्टिव, देन द इंस्ट्रक्शनल एक्टिविटीज. ये तीनों हो सकती हैं, 2 हो सकती हैं, 1 हो सकता है. क्या लिखा हुआ है? डिस्क्राइब एक्टिविटीज दैट एक्सप्लेन द रेलेवेंस ऑफ लर्निंग द कंटेंट ऑफ द लेसन एंड व्हाट इज टू बी लर्न. दैट इज योर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. List activities that may arouse the curiosity of learning the content, or you can write activities that will test the presence of prerequisites. And then if you require any media, you can give its reference, that a chart showing or say PPT showing and so on. And how much time you require for introducing your lecture. That is, out of 55 minutes or 1 hour lecture, you have to give approximate time. Okay, so then comes the development phase. So say you have got 4 or 5 objectives. So in the objective column you will state the first objective. Okay, and then here you will not write the content, here you will write the strategy to achieve the first objective. That is, describe the strategy of presenting the information in respect of objective to be achieved, and write the activities for assessing the achievement of that objective. If you require any media, you can give its reference. How much time you require for achieving the first objective, you can give the time. Then you can state for the second objective or the third objective and so on. And the last phase is the closure phase. And the activities include summarization, evaluation and follow-up. आपने summarize किया, you have asked few questions, you have given them some assignment, and then अपने रूम में जाके अपनी टीचिंग को कॉन्शियसली रिकलेक्ट करेंगे कि कहां पर मैंने मिस्टेक छोड़ी, कहां प्रॉब्लम आई, so that you will note down the shortcomings in your lecture, so that you can make improvement in future lecture. So timing column gives an indication of the pacing of the lesson. तो ये टाइमिंग भी गलत हो सकता है, आप पहली बार पढ़ा रहे हो तो अगली बार इसको अच्छे से टाइमिंग कर सकते हो, right? Now the second component of today's presentation is how to deliver instruction effectively. So there are 3 phases. The introductory phase, stating the instruction objectives and using the advanced organizers to bridge a gap between what the learner already knows and what he needs to know. The idea is to create interest. The idea is to arouse the curiosity about learning the new thing. Here you can tell some story, you can conduct some experiment, you can create some gap, that is, you need to explain the rationale. मैं एक example और लेता हूँ. I ask few questions. Okay, yes, how do you get water from ice? Yes, how do you get water from ice? By heating. Okay, good. And how do you get ice again? By keeping in a fridge. Wonderful. How do you obtain curd from milk? Yes, pouring some curd and keeping it for some time. Wonderful. And how do you get milk from curd again? नहीं बनता. So friends, पानी का बर्फ तो बनना और बर्फ का फिर से पानी बन जाना, लेकिन दूध का दही तो बनना, दही से दोबारा दूध ना बनना, ऐसा क्यों होता है? Now you see, आपका curiosity level बढ़ गया. You want to know why? Then you say that these are due to physical and chemical changes taking place in the water. So today in this session we will learn the concept of physical and chemical changes. Then you go to board and write on the left hand side the concept of physical change, concept of chemical change and the examples or the characteristics. So this is how you will introduce the topic, right? तो अभी 11 बजे के बाद यानी आफ्टर द टी ब्रेक आपने एक तो लेसन प्लान बनाना है, जो भी टॉपिक लेंगे, और 5 मिनट में आपने सिर्फ टॉपिक को इंट्रोड्यूस करना है विदाउट टेलिंग द नेम ऑफ द टॉपिक, टाइटल ऑफ द टॉपिक फर्स्ट. मैंने अभी कुछ एग्जांपल आपको दिए हैं. एक मैंने गैसेस का दिया, दूसरा मैंने ये जो है आपको दिया फिजिकल चेंज, केमिकल चेंज का. इवन मैंने जो इस टॉपिक को भी शुरू किया था, आई नेवर स्टार्टेड विद that my topic is instructional planning. मैंने एक आपको एक इंट्रोडक्शन दिया था जिसमें एक गैप क्रिएट किया था, and that gap is that appreciating the importance of preparing a lesson plan. So introductory phase. Second is the development phase. Here, explanation. You need to know how the content is explained. So a comprehensive exposition that encourages the students' understanding of the subject matter. And second is the demonstration. So explanation and demonstration, they will go side by side. Then questioning. Another very important tactic during the development phase is questioning. Questioning facilitates communication. Questioning focus attention of the student to some particular aspects of the topic, and you can also evaluate students' understanding of knowledge and knowledge and understanding of the subject matter. Questioning also stimulate thinking. जब आप क्वेश्चन पूछते हो, the student will be able to think. You can also control the social behavior of the student. जैसे मान लीजिए कोई स्टूडेंट इनडिसिप्लिन क्रिएट करता है, यू कैन आस्क वन, यस कैन यू टेल मी, यानी पर्पस इज टू ड्रॉ हिज अटेंशन. ओके, so to control the undesirable behavior of the student, you can ask one or two questions. Another is that question is what questions to ask. One is that these should be relevant to the instructional objectives of your lecture, or you can ask different levels of question. Small simple question you can ask to a average student, difficult question you can ask to a gifted student. And while asking question, the vocabulary should be simple. The idea is not to impress upon the student with the use of bombastic language. The idea is to elicit some information. For that you can ask question in simple language which the student can understand. Even while teaching also, you need to use the language in which your student can understand. Our purpose is not to impress upon them कि मेरे को बहुत इंग्लिश आती है and I am using very hi-fi words. My purpose is to make the message simplified, clear. Okay, so familiar words. Then how to ask question? One is that one question at a time. Okay. Secondly, you will address the question to all, let them raise their hands, and then you can call a particular person to answer the question. And question जो है वो starting ऐसे होना चाहिए, simple question पूछते पूछते difficulty level बढ़ाते जाएं. Even question paper में भी एक टेक्निक होती है कि अगर पहला यानी एग्जामिनेशन का क्वेश्चन पेपर आता है, पहला ही क्वेश्चन बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो तो स्टूडेंट का आधा मोरल तो खत्म हो जाता है. तो आपके जो क्वेश्चन की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, यानी उसकी जो पेपर में सेटिंग में करनी है, वो सिंपल टू डिफिकल्ट, एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट टू ऑल एंड गिव देम सम टाइम फॉर थिंकिंग अबाउट द आंसर. एंड देन हाउ टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू स्टूडेंट आंसर्स. यस मोनिका जी, यू हैव सेड वेरी राइटली, दिस इज द राइट वे. किसी ने आंसर दिया और आपने अप्रिशिएट नहीं किया तो स्टूडेंट की थिंकिंग क्या होगी कि इतने डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन का मैंने आंसर दिया, टीचर इतना खड़ूस है कि शाबाशी भी नहीं कह सकता. अभी मैंने क्या किया, आई सेड मोनिका जी यू हैव सेड वेरी राइटली. ये मैंने आपको बताया था, मोनिका जी मींस यू आर आस्किंग ए पर्सन बाय हिज और हर नेम. Okay, that provides motivation. So अगर मैं बोलता हूँ ये 77 रोल नंबर, तुम बताओ क्या आंसर है, 77 का कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है, because a person's name is to him or her the most important and most sweetest sound. recognition मिलता है, ये सबको पता है कि हाँ मोनिका जी ने आंसर दिया तो टीचर हैज अप्रिशिएटेड. So how to respond to students answer. और कई बार क्या होता है, some student has given the answer but it is not in proper shape. Means proper shape means proper language नहीं है. Even then you can appreciate, wonderful, you have said very rightly that के बाद आप proper language में अपने आप दे दीजिए. ठीक है, वो नहीं बता पाया ठीक से, लेकिन उसका जो मीनिंग है वो क्लियर हो रहा है. You appreciate. Wonderful. Then assigning tasks which should be meaningful, which should be related to instruction objective. Give hints if required. जैसे आपने assignment दे दिया, ब्रैकेट में आप लिख सकते हो hint और clue. This is one clue. Okay. Motivation and reinforcement is very important. So motivation can be extrinsic. So you begin with extrinsic. Extrinsic कौन सी होती है? जो जैसे मैंने wonderful, you have said very rightly. That is in extrinsic. Okay. Intrinsic क्या होती है? When the student is able to appreciate the importance of that particular topic. Okay. He becomes independent. He starts taking initiative. That is intrinsic. Initially, you can motivate him with some external reinforcer, but slowly, you can withdraw the frequency of external motivator and let him motivate intrinsically. Okay. So, techniques of motivating students, there are a number of techniques. One technique could be that when you enter the classroom, smile at them. Because smile is an inexpensive way to improve one's looks. Always enter the classroom with an attitude that I am going to enjoy my students. अगर मैं इस attitude से जाऊंगा, तो students will also be able to enjoy with me. And if I goes in the classroom with an attitude, oh today again there is a class, तो वो मेरे face से वो झलकेगा, right? तो मेरे face से energy झलकनी चाहिए. Yes, I am very happy to be in the classroom. Okay, and there are a number of other techniques which will be taken up later on. Then the third phase is the consolidation phase. So here you will summarize what you have covered in the classroom. So assessment will be carried out. Types of tests, you can use variety of test item like short answer questions, multiple choice, or some lengthy question you can ask. And finally, you have to provide feedback and correction. So feedback means the information which is fed back to individual about the appropriateness of their action. जैसे आपने आंसर दिया, तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा आपका आंसर गलत है. That is giving feedback, informative feedback. और ये जो feedback है, that has to be given immediately. अगर 2 दिन के बाद बताओगे आपने बहुत अच्छा उस दिन बड़ा अच्छा आंसर दिया था, उसका कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है. You have to provide immediately, because student want to know the result of his response immediately. And then corrective measures, procedures which are intended to rectify errors in responding or inadequacies in learning. So for this, you can obtain a reliable assessment of students' task performance before giving feedback, etc. So this is all about instructional planning and delivery.